They gave us a countdown that time.
They did. Did they not do that before?
No, remember? We were just there. It was
yeah.
terrifying.
Yeah, exactly.
I could tell because when I edited it, I was like, my face, I was making a face that was like not ready for people to see. I was like,
like you're just like, I edited it. I think you added a couple extra. Hey, Syd.
Hey, Dad.
What's going on?
Nothing. I literally just got here. I'm still wearing shoes.
Okay.
Which is crazy.
Which, I mean, of course, when people wear shoes, that means that they are...
Getting places?
Getting places. Yeah, that's a good point. They are. They're wearing shoes. Tonight we're going to talk a little bit about Gypsy, Rose, Blanchard. Was it Lee at one point? Or no?
No.
What am I thinking about with Gypsy,
Abby
Rose?
Lee Miller?
No, who's that?
From Dance Moms?
No, I was not thinking of Abby Lee Miller. Okay, Gypsy.
I'm excited to talk about more of like what you would tell her if you were her therapist kind of thing. Because this girl went through a lot. And like I'm sure you literally have to be living under a rock to not know about it. But
yeah, literally living under a rock. Hey, tell me, do you literally and figuratively, you know the difference, right?
Yes.
Okay, I know you. But I love when somebody's doing my head literally exploded.
Oh, yeah, I don't use it right at all. I use it wrong probably every single time.
When you're saying that somebody is literally living under a rock, though, that's what I'm like laughing about. Like, oh, they reside under a rock. But you're not saying that.
No.
No. Okay. I've got while we wait for a couple more people to join on, because I think last time, a minute or two in, then it went kind of wild. So
don't jinx it.
Don't jinx it. So I want to know... Oh, no. I had a couple questions that were left over from last time, and then I had people email me questions. Email, but like the old-fashioned way.
Sorry, someone just said something terrifying.
Did they?
We need our mods.
Oh, okay. Yeah, where's Mackie? Moderator. We get a moderator in the house.
Continue.
Yeah. Okay, continue.
There you go.
Okay, there we go. Okay. Somebody said, have I ever yelled at you? I think I know the answer, so I'm curious. Have you ever been yelled at by me?
I know you've used like a stern voice.
Have I?
I feel like it would almost bother me when I was younger because you wouldn't yell.
Okay.
But I know you're not supposed to yell, but you know when you're just so mad and you want someone to give you that like angry energy back and then they don't?
Oh, absolutely.
And that's probably like some therapy thing, right? Like that's what you're supposed to do is not give the energy back.
I mean,
but when you're a kid, you know?
Yeah, but okay, this is so good because if I yell at you, that's a me thing. So then I have to yell to make you stop doing something. That's a me issue. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because if like I'm an adult and if you're doing something silly or whatever, and then I'm like, I just got really frustrated about that. What is that telling me? That I am thinking, you are embarrassing me, or I should have taught you something different, or what are other people going to think about me because of what you did? That's a bunch of me stuff.
Yeah.
So I need to be chill. And
it's so satisfying when someone is like, now that I like know how, I was going to say know how to argue, know how to not argue.
Yeah.
It's so satisfying when like someone is so mad at you for no reason and like raising their voice at you and just like being completely calm and just being like, why are you doing that? Like, why are you yelling? Because it really does, like, why are we yelling? Why do you think that saying it in a scary, loud voice is going to make the words mean anything different?
So if we let's go all deep. So if somebody has to yell to get their point across, then that means most likely they saw that modeled by their parents maybe in their childhood.
Lena's here.
Hey, Lena.
Miss you, Lena.
So that's where if people then say like they have to yell or else they're not going to be heard or understood, then that might be like they feel like the only time I was ever heard in as a kid was if I yelled. And a lot of times, oh man, there's so much here. Because a lot of times parents say, well, that's the only way that I can get my kid to do anything. I asked 2 or 3 times.
Oh, wait, I have to show Lena. Lena, she got me this. It's so cute, isn't it?
It is.
My bag.
It's very nice.
Okay, sorry, ADHD. Go ahead.
No, that's good. But so yelling it's like usually a form of control. So I like need to control the moment, or I need to control the conversation, or I'm worried that if I don't yell, then I will never be heard or understood. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's, but I was going to say, you said something I really liked there where if somebody is coming at you and they're frustrated and you don't engage or yell, then have you ever been that person?
That literally happened to me like last week.
Okay, what happened?
This guy, he just like, I don't talk to him anymore, but he just like he started raising his voice with me like, and we weren't even like in an argument. At least I didn't feel like we were in an argument.
What? Okay, do you remember what it was, kind of?
I don't want to say.
Okay,
that
all right. Okay.
Let's give it a year.
Okay, but yes, continue.
But no, I just, in my past relationships, it would have worked. He would have started raising his voice, and I would have raised mine back, and we'd be screaming at each other. And this time, I just looked at him, and I was like, you look kind of dumb right now. Like, we're not even in an argument. I didn't call him dumb, but I probably should have, because it's just, like, it's so unproductive in a conversation to act like that.
So this is that thing where people often go just straight victim mode. And then so if they let's say that they kind of know that they did something wrong, because if you say, oh, I thought you were gonna call me, I thought you were gonna get back to me, and they're like, oh, what am I supposed to do? Like, do I have to let you know of every single move I make? You know, they jump right in at victim mode, because then if you're like, I'm not saying that, and now they need you to get in a disagreement with them, or else they're gonna have to sit with the discomfort that, oh yeah, I didn't do that.
Oh,
See what I'm saying?
So they need you to get on the same level of crazy as they are, so they can feel like maybe I'm not crazy.
Yeah, because
and if you don't react, then that means that you are crazy, and they have to turn in on themselves.
Exactly, and they don't like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm pretty sure you're not supposed to say crazy anymore.
Okay. Challenge.
I don't even.
If you're not cuckoo, maybe. But that one's a trip though, because that's where if you are just sitting there all zen and it's like, oh man, it looks like you're having a hard time. That sounds really rough. And like, stop yelling at me. I'm like, oh wow, tell me more about that.
Yeah, it like de-escalates the situation.
That's a big word.
That's a big word.
I know. I feel like that was very
Little
dismissive
girl
of me.
Who doesn't know any words.
Well, okay, you know what happened right there is I'm thinking about jokes constantly, even as an adult human being, a professional. But then I was trying to make a joke about owning a de-escalade. I know, and then I'm like, man, is that like a dad joke?
Your brain moves faster than scientists. Tony.
It does, and it stopped there, and I'm like, oh, I need to not say that, but then instead I said, that's a big word. I probably should have gone with de-escalade.
No, my brain makes like more jokes in like more serious situations too. I feel like when I'm not, is that a thing?
Okay, yeah, lay down on the couch. Listen down, because that's I think maybe we've talked about this a little bit before. Primary and secondary emotions. Does that one ring a bell? Actually,
I was lying. I literally don't even know what that is.
Okay, look at this. Every therapist is required to have the feelings wheel in the in their office.
What? Let me see that.
Yeah, do you want to see that? So primary and secondary emotions, these ones on the inside are the primary emotions: anger, disgust, sadness, happy, fear, surprise. So our primary emotion is the thing that just immediately happens.
My intrusive thought is just to break all of your computers.
Oh, that would be very nice. Okay.
Keep going.
So then your primary emotion might be anger. So if you know you got caught doing something bad, you might be really, really angry. But then, that primary emotion, we often then, it's like embarrassing, or they're so just these visceral reactions. And so then we typically then go right to a secondary emotion, and mine is humor. My secondary emotion is always humor. If I'm afraid of something, I make a joke about it. If I'm scared and afraid. If I'm really angry, I'm gonna make a joke. If all of a sudden things are really vulnerable, then I'll crack a joke.
So it's a defense mechanism, kind of.
Bit,
but I like it. I totally like it. I feel like everything should be funny. Because it's either really sad or you could just laugh at it, you know?
Are we not taking things seriously though?
No. Yeah, I don't. Exactly.
Yeah, I give the example of, do you remember when you guys went through, I feel like every little kid goes through a phase where you like scaring people. So you walk around a corner and then the kid jumps out. The reason the reason I give this example is, so let's say that I got scared and all of a sudden I just go, geez, hey, don't do that. You might have hurt me, or I might have tripped or something. What just happened there was a primary emotion was immediately like fear, literal fear. But then the secondary emotion of anger comes in there because I don't want to admit that I just got scared by a little 4-year-old kid who jumped out and said boo. So either the real thing is to learn to just own that primary emotion. Holy cow, you scared me. Oh, everybody's good.
Yeah.
Right?
And you're not below them because they got one up on you or something. Life is not like that.
No, it's not. So what did we ever decide though? Oh, so you don't think that we yelled at you, but almost you wish we would have at times?
Yeah. But I don't think that's
well, I was going to say too, when you said sometimes I used a very stern voice, I was going to say this is one where as a couples therapist, I don't think we set the table here either. So I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist.
I have nothing to say every time you do that.
You're Sydney, and you are co-host of Murder on the Couch, and you are
just a girl in the world.
And then this is where the ADHD comes in. What were we talking about?
I have no idea.
Oh, okay. So couples therapist, that's where I was going. So I will often see that, let's just do a hypothetical where the guy is the more emotionally immature. I mean, go with me on this one. And then the woman in the relationship is not. Okay. And so then I'm having them do like good couples therapy. They're trying to communicate more effectively. And then oftentimes you'll notice if let's just say the wife says something that the husband really doesn't like, and he'll say, hey, can you kind of tone it down a little bit? And then she'll say, I didn't even know I didn't know I was saying it in a mean way. And the thing is, she wasn't. But then if he is hearing something that he doesn't like, or he feels like he's in trouble, then it's almost like you are a little kid again. And then it's like, stop being mean to me, you know? And so that a lot of times people will say, I don't think I'm really raising my voice. And they're like, there, you did it again, you know? And then, but then you have to stay calm, like kind of what we were talking about earlier. Okay, before we get to the Gypsy Rose stuff, how is the challenge with nicotine going, Sydney? Take us on.
Okay, honestly, I didn't get like irrationally angry today.
Okay.
So that was good.
Is that the first day of not being irrationally angry?
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay.
It could change at any second, so.
Okay. I noticed when you came in here, you were very kind to me.
Yeah, right? So.
Yeah, it made me very, very happy.
But it's still been really hard. I hate it.
Okay.
I love nicotine.
Okay. Now tell us how you really feel.
That is how I really feel.
Okay. Are you committed to it, do you feel like?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Totally. And I've never, like, it's been like maybe 2 weeks and never in my life have I gone that long. So now I'm like, I just have to keep doing it.
Okay.
Or else I'll be so annoyed.
Okay. And any keys that are helping you stay away from it? We were given some advice to somebody I really appreciate last night. Do you remember what that was?
About the Zins?
Those. And then also you talked about clearing the room of all things.
Oh, yeah. No, yeah. If you're trying to quit vaping, I know you don't want to, but you literally have to throw them all away. Or else you will find one. Because that's just like, nicotine is like a crazy drug. I feel like if you're like addicted to it, like you're always thinking about it. It's weird.
Is it? Mm-hmm. Okay. And then do you think that in the past you've tried to quit, and have you said, I don't have to throw everything away, like I'll be fine?
Yeah, I'm like, just in case. I'm like, if I know it's there, then I'll know that like I could hit it, but I'm not going to. It's like, no, girl, you're gonna hit it.
Okay. But it'll be the last time, just one more time. Did you ever do that thing?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. And then if you did, then is it like, you know what, today then I'm okay to do it today, I'll stop tomorrow?
Yeah, there's always tomorrow.
Yeah. And then like if it was Thursday, would you go like, you know what, Monday? Like Monday's the best time to stop.
Yeah.
I just think that's always, because why can't somebody stop on a Thursday or a Wednesday? Like you kind of can't.
I don't know what day of the week it is literally right now.
Fair point. Okay, that's a fair point. Okay, somebody
have
said.
any questions?
Well, yeah. Somebody said, "Can I ask a question about my relationship?" Absolutely. That's what we're here for.
Do it.
Somebody also had asked about the 5 rules of narcissism, and I think that's more about I've got 5 rules of how to interact with somebody who is emotionally immature or narcissistic. So if I lay these out, will you poke holes in them? Mm-hmm. Okay. So let's say you've got the emotionally immature person in your life, and one of these is really important. So the first thing I talk about is raising your emotional baseline, which is self-care. But I tell you, I feel like the last 3 or 4 days, self-care is kind of getting crapped on. What do you think if somebody just says you need to engage in self-care? Honestly, what do you think of?
Take a bubble bath.
Okay, bubble bath. Exactly.
Do a face mask.
Okay,
and your depression, it will go away.
Okay. And that's exactly how it works. No, but because self-care isn't that. What do you think it is, really?
I feel like it has to do with each person, right? I just lost part of my ring. Oops.
Oh.
It's totally specific to each individual person, right?
Yeah.
It's
for
like
sure.
what my self-care would be completely different to what yours would be.
Yeah.
What is it? Just like doing things that like relax you or like are value based for you?
All that stuff. It's really good because I work with a population sometimes of people who are in emotionally abusive or narcissistic relationships, trauma bonded. We've talked about that one a few times. And so sometimes they don't even feel like they can think or dream because they're so busy trying to buffer the relationship from like their kids or trying to make sense of, wait a minute, but this worked this time and now they're saying that I didn't say that, and it just drives you crazy. So sometimes I say the self-care can just start in a place of just starting to dream or to hope or to daydream, because we talk about like when you're trying to manage somebody else's emotions or trying to figure out your own relationship, there's a lot of emotional calories being burned doing that. Yeah. So do you feel like you engage in self-care?
Yeah, totally. Okay. For me, I feel like a lot of that is like going outside and like grounding myself and like going on walks and stuff.
Yeah.
And I always daydream. I feel like that's like kind of like manifesting.
Okay. Okay, let's talk about that. I used to kind of make fun a little bit of manifesting, but I'm on board.
I totally think
Okay,
it's
what are your
real.
thoughts?
Well, okay, I think it's just like, I'm really spiritual, so I just think it is exactly what it is. But I also agree with the perspective that it also just, when you just like really have to trick your mind into anything, I feel like.
Okay.
Like, you kind of just have to lie to yourself and then it is. Like, I don't know, that's just how I see it. So I feel like manifesting is kind of a way to put your brain into the place where you're able to do what you need to do to get to your goal. Because
Yeah.
you kind of are like acting like you're already there.
Yeah. Okay.
And then you are.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
No, I like it.
It's like kind of how I see like confidence too. Like I think, at least for me, maybe some people are actually confident, but all my confidence is like completely fake, you know?
Okay.
But then I'm just like, it works.
Yeah. The old fake it till you make it.
Yeah, it's like you create your own reality, and I totally believe that.
I like that. So I really like that. So I used to just think it was, and I remember I've got one. You know how the brain is wild, and our memory is really fascinating.
Our memory is not fascinating. It's bad.
It is. It's kind of crazy. And then we rely on, it makes so much sense, or we need to make sense of things, but I remember there was a book a long time ago that was all about manifesting things, and it had things in there like, if I'm going to, there was one of my clients, and they said that they were going to the mall, and it was around Christmas, and they thought, I don't want to walk far away. I'm going to manifest a parking spot. So then they're like, and you know what? And I was ready for this person to say, load of crap, didn't work. But no, they said, and then sure enough, there was one front row. So that one, I'm like, I have a trouble with that. What?
Then the whole way he was waiting for that parking spot, he was in a good mood, right? And that's opposed to as if he would be worrying,
Okay.
you know?
No,
and it's just like, then what if he gets there and there isn't a parking spot and he was wrong? Oh, yes. Well. Now we'll find one.
Right. And it is funny because he wouldn't have even driven up to the front if he was not thinking about that. Because I would just go park in the outer.
Yeah.
So that's a fair point. Ha. And that's where I was going with it now. Where I go with that is that if somebody has not even ever dreamed it or thought it, and they don't even know it exists, then it won't happen. Mm-hmm. So then if you are now aware of it, then technically you're kind of starting on the path of manifesting.
Yeah. So,
because I remember I was in a crappy career for 10 years, computer software, and it took me like a year, 2, 3 years of even starting to think about, what if I went to grad school? Like, what if I got my master's in counseling? What if I started down the path of being a therapist? And then it was like, no, that won't work. So you have to start thinking it, I guess. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So those.
And I feel like it kind of has to do with, like you always say, your brain automatically goes to the negative,
it does.
Right?
Yep.
So like,
yeah,
you have to physically make the choice to not be like that.
Oh gosh, so
or
much.
else you're always just going to be worrying, and you're always just going to be assuming the worst. And it is because your brain is protecting you, right?
Yeah.
But
that
again,
was from
perception is your reality, or your whatever. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and that was the brain protecting you, that part is a trip, because it's still left over from when we were worried about saber-toothed tigers and things like that. So now the brain just goes crazy, it goes nuts with worrying about everything, most of the things that would never happen. Mm-hmm. What if I get a terminal disease? What if I get a ticket? What if I? And then I'm like, man, then I'm worried. But I just wasted a bunch of time thinking about stuff that most likely won't happen. Mm-hmm. Where was I going with that, though? You said something really smart. We're talking about manifesting. We're talking about brain, negative. Oh, you have to... Yes, okay. Because, man, I cannot say enough that if you are somebody that then your immediate thought is like, man, I'm so stupid, or what's wrong with me, we kind of got to cut that out. Do you ever do that?
Oh, yeah. I used to have the worst, inner monologue ever.
Okay.
It was awful. Worse than I could even, say.
Yeah.
On a live stream. It would just be, constant negative thoughts. And I think it was a lot to do with my ADHD and not knowing that I had it at the time.
Yeah.
Is, if I was, oh, thanks. If I was, in school and I had to, finish something, and I was literally forced to sit there and finish it, the negative thoughts would just overrun my brain. And now it's I seriously feel like I've kind of rewired my brain to think more positive thoughts.
Yeah.
And it doesn't happen that much anymore.
Okay.
And something else that I forgot.
it was brilliant. It really was. So that internal dialogue is designed to go to the what's wrong with me. You got it?
I remember.
Okay, that's the way it works.
I literally have never told anyone this because it sounds embarrassing.
Here's a scoop.
But I started listening to these, like, they're like a couple hours on YouTube, and it's just like, what's the word? It's just like saying good things about, like,
Positive affirmations?
Yes, and I would fall asleep to them.
Yeah.
And it seriously would like make like change my like life in a kind of weird way. Okay. Like I did that, and I started meditating at the same time.
Like
so, and I feel like that really helped me to rewire my brain to be more positive.
What if I told you now that I knew that, and I would come into your room and I would turn those down and I would sit there going, listen to your dad.
You're having a nightmare. You're having a nightmare.
I would not do that, Syd. No, that's really cool. You default to the negative. That's what you do. So in my beloved acceptance and commitment therapy, which is the greatest therapy modality known to mankind, you really I think if one of the things to take away from tonight is, if you notice that you do oh man, I'm so bad, or what's wrong with me, or I'm so stupid, or any of that stuff, then stop doing that, because you are the only version of you that has ever been on the face of the earth, and you are going through life for the very first time as you in the moment. So you're thinking and feeling the way you are because you are. So check that out. I love the check that out thing. Yeah. So it's like, ooh, check this out. I just thought about, I don't know, that I should have done this other thing different. Like, that's a thing. Instead of gosh, what is wrong with me? Like, how many times do I have to forget to do that, versus well, that's interesting, I forgot to do it again. Like, that's just a whole different vibe.
And I think, too, you're still going to have those negative thoughts. Like, I still have negative voices in my head all the time. But I feel like now I'm better at moving forward and not connecting myself to that thought or that feeling. Not, like, because I used to overthink so much. I'd be like, why did I just think that?
Yeah.
Like, am I actually a terrible person? Like, do I need to, like... Yeah. But now I feel like I'm able to just move on to the next thought, and then...
Because we're having plenty of them.
Literally.
For real.
And we don't control them. No. Like, I grew up, like, when I was little, I would always feel so guilty about all of my thoughts. Like, if I ever had a negative thought, an inappropriate thought, like, I thought that I was a bad person. But, like, if I could just, like, go back and tell like, you did not choose what popped up into your head. No. We don't choose. We're just, like, subject to, like,
Theater
a million...
of the mind.
Yeah. And it's like, you're not a bad person if you have a bad thought.
No. But that's a hard one as a kid to not think. And then we've talked before, the inappropriate thought syndrome is such a real thing. And it's that concept of everybody has inappropriate, random, sexual, malicious, negative, all those thoughts. Everybody has them. And then that's the first tenet of inappropriate thought syndrome. The second one is that thought suppression doesn't work. We know that one. You do it this time. Tell people not to think of something.
Don't think of I almost just like swore. Like, why?
That would have been inappropriate.
Don't think of a cat on a tree.
I did.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Don't think of it falling from the tree.
Yeah. Oh, why'd you have to do that?
See, oh, okay. Now you've associated some meaning with that thought. So everybody has those thoughts. Just because you have them doesn't... Oh, no, thought suppression doesn't work. And then just because you have them doesn't mean you're going to do whatever it is.
Yeah, exactly.
My go-to is...
Or if you have a weird dream, too. I used to have weird dreams, and I'd be like, okay, so I'm going to be a serial killer now. Like, I never had a serial killer dream, but...
Killer of cereals.
But, like, no, it's just... Our brains are weird.
They're a trip. Do you want to hear something? And I've realized we never got to number 2 of the 5 rules of narcissism.
Oh, yeah.
Because I was about to say, do you want to hear the latest on dream research, which is so wild?
Oh, I want to hear that.
Do you really? Okay,
yeah.
This is wild. Okay, I did a podcast on for those that are listening, we got multiple podcasts. The Virtual Couch podcast is my mental health one. Waking Up to Narcissism. We co-host one called Murder on the Couch. Which,
oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We haven't done an episode in a while.
Talk about it. Well, I'm going to look for something.
I'm going to put the Gypsy Rose one up on YouTube, so you guys can watch it.
Okay.
But the audio version is already out on Spotify, I believe, right?
Oh, yeah.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, and Apple Podcasts.
Oh, and sorry, everyone. I know I gave you guys trust issues because I said I was going to upload that video the next day, and then I didn't.
I did notice that.
But I did upload it the next day.
You did? So I just figured I got the wrong next day.
Yeah, you all did. You guys actually all heard me wrong, and
yeah.
So
okay.
I was right.
Okay, this is fast. Have you ever...
Wait, can I just say one more thing?
Yeah.
The last week's episode is actually going to be up tomorrow, and I'm not lying.
That was a good one.
because I just exported it. It was really good. I really liked last week's, so you guys should watch it.
Okay, so go to the YouTube channel, subscribe there. Wait, you made fun of... No, you said last time smash the subscribe
Yeah,
button.
I made you do it so then I could make fun of you after.
Oh, gotcha. Oh, you could take the audio out of that. And,
Yeah.
and also, we would love it if you... It's so funny. I'm the world's worst salesman. But if you subscribe to the TikTok thing, then there's going to be like special content. There's meditation tracks, different Q&As.
Yeah, I think we're still like figuring it out, but I think for like the subscriber only, we're gonna like go live for we'll go live for everyone, but then we'll just do some with just the subscribers, and then you guys can like ask questions, and then we can answer those questions first.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the subscriber questions, because we end up getting
subscribers
a
don't
lot
have
of
to
questions.
wait throughout the live. Yeah, because I do feel bad. It's like we have so many questions that pop up.
Welcome to ADHD. Okay.
And like we're trying to get to all of them, obviously.
We are.
But
Honestly, this is fun.
we talk way too. Like we get so like.
There's a great comment that says, "LOL, they're talking about 5 things at once. Haha, you should tell them welcome to our ADHD brains."
Dude,
oh, that is for sure.
If you don't have ADHD, props to you for being able to sit here with us.
So here's what I'm gonna do. The dream stuff we'll put on hold. And I'm going to go back to the next question was, what were those 5 things about narcissists? So the first one was raise your emotional baseline. So self-care. And this is because if you are in an emotionally immature, abusive, narcissistic relationship, then you need to be in the best version of yourself to be able to do like that thing where your baseline's so low and the tools to just be and do and interact might be here. Mm-hmm. So you have to start self-caring your way up to this point where you can reach the tools.
Mm-hmm. And like you said before, if you're using all of those like energy points on someone else, you'll have none left for yourself.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And you won't even realize you're doing that.
No.
I feel like a lot of the times until you're just like dead.
Depleted. For real. Yeah. And that is I was about to go on a tangent. I'm right here, staying very present. Raise your emotional baseline. The second thing is I say get your PhD in gaslighting, which just means learn everything you can about the concept of gaslighting, which is in essence where people they're making you feel crazy by telling you that I never said that, that isn't what I meant, you never did that, you said you were going to do this, and if you're really confident, I did not say that isn't what I did, but they're like, that's what happened, and you then question yourself, then that is gaslighting. And we went over, and one of those, it might have been the last one, we went over 4 different types of gaslighting. 5,
I think. Yeah,
okay.
There's a chapter for that in the last video.
Okay, so I really recommend that. So I won't take that one. We'll go find that one, right? Okay, so then the third one is get out of unproductive conversations. Because here's the thing, where if we've identified that we got to raise your emotional baseline because interacting with somebody that is immature or narcissistic is an energy drain, and so you've tried to get your baseline up, and then you now know what gaslighting is, and I really didn't say that, but if I'm trying to convince them of that, then they're just going to turn it back around on me. So I got to get out of those unproductive conversations. And then the 4th rule is that you have to learn to set healthy boundaries and know that a boundary is a challenge for the narcissist or the emotionally immature. Oh
yeah, that's what our last TikTok was about.
It was, and I like that because we talked about boundary versus ultimatum, and that is a game changer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm right. Right? Validate me?
No.
How dare you? Because an ultimatum is you need to stop yelling at me. A boundary is if you yell at me, I will leave. And I mean, yeah.
I just started watching The Ultimatum on Netflix.
What is it?
It's insane. It's like they have like a bunch of couples that like all of them, like one of them really wants to get married and the other one doesn't. Mm-hmm. And so then they bring them together and they all switch partners and then stay with their new partner for 2 weeks. And then at the end of that, they decide, it's an ultimatum. So then they decide either they're getting married with their old partner or they're breaking up. It's kind of really toxic.
Yeah, and they got 2 weeks to decide.
It's like so toxic, but it's so entertaining.
real life marriage therapist finds some struggles in that.
No, I feel like people would probably like go to you after they were on that show and be like, we need to talk about this.
You know, the closest that I came to, there were, when I worked at this other place, there were me and 2 other therapists, and we got through 2 rounds of interviews for this reality show that was going to be so cool. Do you know this?
No, why didn't you do it?
I was waiting for them to say, come do it. And it was going to be called like Blended or something. And you would take 2, like people that were married, or they had kids, and then they get married, and then they bring their partner and their kids, and they fly them out to a resort, and then they let them interact for a week, and then you keep cutting to the therapist, and we get to weigh in on what's going on. Oh, I wanted it so bad.
Oh, you would have been good at that.
I was excited about that, and then it just never happened. Okay, so boundary, ultimatum. Here's the big one, the last one, number 5.
Number 5.
Oh, here's another question. No. Okay. You will never cause that person to have the aha moment or the epiphany. And I feel like this one is huge because you end up being you're just like, okay, if I explain it this way, then maybe they'll get it. Or if I tell them, no, that you said this earlier. But when it's a real emotionally immature or narcissistic individual, what they will do is then you are basically continuing to hand them your buttons to push. So if you're saying, okay, I really, it really bothers me when you get mad at me in front of our kids, and I don't think you realize you're doing that. Then the person just knows, oh, that's important. So then if I want to then
make you upset.
Yeah, like
I
we were
need
talking
to get
about
mad at
earlier.
you in front of the kids.
Yep, because we were talking about that earlier. So then if the emotionally immature narcissistic person does something that is not ideal, they're not going to own it. They're not going to say, my bad. So then they're going to say they need to get out of that that moment. So what do? Oh, I'll push this button. And then you'll interact, you'll react, and then I get to say, geez, calm down,
It's so upsetting.
It is. Okay, so affirmations, love her. Okay, somebody nice. They said, this is amazing, just the open talk and putting it out there. There we go.
Putting it out there.
Okay, okay, this is a good one. What's the difference between random inappropriate thoughts and concerning intrusive thoughts? Is there?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I love the question, and I want you to know there's no part of us that is going to say, what a dumb question, because it is a question.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, I just feel like all of my intrusive thoughts are concerning. I feel like.
Okay.
Like, it's actually a thing that I, struggle with. Like, I have weird intrusive thoughts, but I know I'm not going to do anything bad,
Well, okay, I thank you, person asking. Thank you, Sydney, for being that open and vulnerable. And then this is where I don't want to sound like the wise old sage, because I think it becomes this process of becoming where you get to the point where it really is, we got to change our relationship with our thoughts. This is part of that whole meditation and mindfulness practice, because why do we then say that one is inappropriate, one is intrusive, one is like a vision, one is silly, one is... We start from this place of they are thoughts. We've got tons of them. And that has to just be and this is that part where it takes a mindfulness practice over an extended period of time to learn to sit back and notice thought. And we talk about this, which I love. We're not trying to stop our thoughts. That is not what mindfulness and meditation is. It is to sit and be aware and notice thought and then come back to the present moment and breathe. And
is there anyone who can stop their thoughts? Is that the highest form of meditation? I don't even think it is though, right? Because that's when you start seeing the real cool stuff. Yeah,
but here, watch, I'll do it right now. Ready? No.
I literally, no.
Tried it.
I started thinking about giraffes. That's so weird.
That
that's
was
so
weird.
random. My brain literally cannot allow me to
I was
have a moment of peace.
A thought is a thought. And you're like, giraffes. I'm like, well, that one's weird. It is a thought.
It's funny when you say thought, because it sounds like you're saying
I know. I know what that one is. It's like in there's
we got
a song.
So many thoughts out here.
Okay, that's funny. I can't remember
thoughts
what
on thoughts.
Yes. Now I already forgot. I know it's a thing. Okay, I had a thought. I had there's not another word for it.
You just gotta go for it.
It's not an idea.
Tony's a hoe.
Okay. I'm a farmer.
No.
It's a hoe. I really want to remember what I was saying. We were talking about intrusive, inappropriate thought. Oh, okay. This is so it sounds like making a plug for the Waking Up to Narcissism podcast this week. I talked about the impact of emotionally immature and narcissistic parents on kids. And it's I don't know, I really like the content, but it's a lot. It'll bring up the big feelings. But I was like 20 minutes into it right here. I'm recording, and I left it in there, but I spilled a bottle of water on my keyboard and my computer.
Oh, yeah.
And I just was like, I'm recording it, and then I say, I just spilled a water on my computer keyboard and my computer. And so I was like, I will be right back. And then I cleaned it, and I came back, and I just left it on there just to be... I said, this is a commercial for mindfulness and meditation, because it was so cool. They're just like, oh, I am noticing this. Like, that's a thing. It is happening. Mm-hmm. Not the, I'm so mad.
Yeah, it is what it is.
But if it would have, like, smoked and blew up or something, I might have noticed my anger, or noticed me throwing it across the room. Okay, there's one that I want. Okay, so that's the 5 things. That last one, that you will never give them the aha moment or the epiphany. But you will try continually. I mean, as somebody that works with that population, I will week after week talk with people. Then we'll say, you know what? And then this time I told her that, look, you need to do this, and it's like, and what'd she say?
But with a truly narcissistic person, I hope like people know, like, it's not you explaining it in the wrong way, or it's not you not knowing how to say it right. Their brain is literally like wired to not understand that, right? It's like, because I don't know, I just feel like I've been in those moments before where you're just trying to see like a sparkle of empathy in someone's eyes, you know, like
that's adorable.
Like just a tiniest bit of understanding, and it's not there with those like I've never with people that I know like are narcissists, like there's never been like an empathetic moment. So
and a true admittedly a true narcissistic person, then if they do say, no, I really get it, then if you really want to test that, then I call it introducing positive tension. So then just say, well, tell me more about what you're understanding this time, because I really appreciate it. Not if it's real, not if it's really narcissistic.
Maybe if it was more just narcissistic tendencies.
Yeah, like a emotional immaturity. But there's an article that I go to often, this lady named Eleanor Greenberg, and this just right out of the gate, she said narcissism is a name for a series of coping strategies that began as an adaptation to a childhood family situation that left the person with unstable self-esteem, the inability to regulate their self-esteem without external validation, and low empathy. And all that, what it means is if they were raised by parents or in a situation where they weren't allowed to have their emotions or their feelings, they were told that those are wrong and bad, and they watched parents who never took ownership of anything, that literally, like, it wasn't my fault, if the kid wouldn't have been screaming or crying, or well, what was I supposed to do? He knocked over the juice, like, that's, of course I'm gonna get mad, that kind of thing. Then they're making excuses for their behavior, bad behavior, and so then here's somebody that grows up, and that is their model of what you do as an adult human being, And I love the stuff where they'll say stuff like, "We don't lie," and then the front door bell rings, and then they're like, "Tell them I'm not here," that kind of thing. So then you learn that, well, I don't lie except for when I do, and when I get mad, it really wasn't my fault, and I apologized. So I mean, it's whatever I want to do. It's all literally all about me. Okay, there's one that I want your opinion on, Syd, because this is a thing that, somebody, the amazing, jump and talk. Oh, somebody said you should do a YouTube live and TikTok live combined. I know.
Yeah, I think we've talked about that. We need to figure that out.
Yeah, and then we forget it. Oh, Kylie Whitney's here. That's Kylie Paul. Do you remember Kylie? Would stay with us?
Yeah. I love her.
Kylie, we found your tent as we're cleaning the garage from 10 years ago. My bad.
Yeah, we were just talking about
we were.
tent,
I know,
actually.
yeah, that was fun times with her. Swiped on this by accident. Never want to leave. I have ADHD. I'll be checking out the podcast. Thank you,
this is a safe space for you.
Very safe place. Yeah. Can you talk more about ultimatum versus boundary? We will. We'll get to that one too. Therapist diagnosed me with ADHD per the DSM, but general practitioner won't prescribe meds without psychiatrist eval. That's a lot of stuff. Let me kind of talk about that. Well, okay, I'm going to get to that, but it's Sydney. Where is it at? There's one that says, oh, here it is. This one. Can you read that one?
Septum? That one?
Yeah.
Septum piercing pain rate. Oh, I
know, right?
I don't think it hurt that bad. I don't really remember. It was like so worth it. Like it definitely like hurt like way more than like any of these ones.
Yeah.
And my belly button hurt more. So it was in between that.
Oh.
But so worth it.
This is where I think my pain tolerance is not. Yeah.
Well, it doesn't, how I like gauge it is it doesn't hurt. The healing process for your septum doesn't hurt, so you should get it. Because like when I got my belly button, every time I would like lean over, move, like it would hurt so bad. But then your septum's just like hanging out of your nose, so nothing really happens.
Okay, is it fair for me to ask like legit questions?
Yeah.
Okay, like because I barely know how to blow my nose as an adult human. Like I get crap all over. It's weird. Like I feel like as a kid, nobody ever told me you cup the tissue or so it's So
Ew, do you get boogers in your mouth?
No, that's the whole thing. They shoot all the way down. True story. There was once where somebody was like, "Hey, I think you got a pickle on your shirt." I'm like, "Oh, okay, thank you." Not a pickle.
Ew,
I'm just being it's honest. Like, and then from that day on, though, I will never have that happen again. I always check. But like blowing your nose or anything like that, is it?
No, it doesn't.
Doesn't bother you?
Bother it.
Okay. Super cold weather.
No. What would that do?
I don't know. Like it'd be cold or something. I went to the dentist today, and they numbed up my face so bad that then it was supposed to only last 2 or 3 hours, and like 4 or 5 hours later, it was still numb. And I was thinking about this because here I'm sitting there, Zen mindfulness master, and then I was like, I think I will never feel my lip ever again. Is that all or nothing?
Did you have to talk to your patients?
Yeah, I actually recorded about 20 minutes of a podcast today, right when I got back, and I thought this will be great, and it's bad.
You should just post it anyways. It's funny.
I don't know. I kept it. No, I think I deleted it. Okay, so let's talk about this ADHD. Do you remember getting your diagnosis?
Yeah, it was not that long ago.
Yeah. Okay, they said therapists diagnosed me with ADHD per the DSM. So the DSM is the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual that therapists use to diagnose. So the DSM criteria for ADHD. So here we go. The symptoms are you ready?
Read me to filth.
Okay, so 5 or more symptoms. Lacking attention to detail. This includes making careless mistakes at school, work, or other activities.
Check.
Hey. Difficulty focusing. The person might struggle to pay attention throughout meetings, lectures, or lengthy reading sessions.
What did it say? Just kidding.
Okay. But this is where ADHD 2.0, the book, is amazing because it really has been out. The DSM's been out for a long time.
But who with ADHD could read a whole book? Let's be real. Do they have an audiobook?
Well, even then, there's okay. Oh, wait, let me finish this. Trouble listening. It might seem like the person doesn't listen and often thinks of unrelated matters during conversations. Maybe?
I don't understand how people don't do that.
I know.
What does your brain do?
Okay, failing to complete tasks. They might have trouble following instructions, gets easily sidetracked, and fail to finish their assignments, tasks, or chores, or maybe don't even finish telling the 5 rules of interacting with a narcissistic individual for 25 extra minutes. Do you fail to complete tasks?
Yes, constantly.
Okay.
One thing that's...
Yes.
Oh, you go first.
No, you.
One thing that's kind of been helping me lately is I will pick like 3 things that I have to do, and I'll like think of those 3 things in my head, and I'm like, okay, and I'll just bounce around all 3 of them. But I can never be like, I'm gonna sit down and do this and finish it. It never works like that. I get like uncomfortable knowing that I have to stay there.
Yeah.
So it helps me to multitask.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. And that's what I think is really fascinating. So when I used my previous job, I would sit at desk and do things, and I would lose my mind. Therapist, I'm going to write, I'm going to speak, I'm going to research, I'm going to podcast, I'm going to see clients, and it's like all over the place. Mm-hmm. Have to do it. It's really nice.
Oh, yeah, that's a good thing. I thought you were going somewhere bad with that.
Well, for a while I did, though, because at first I thought, I got to pick a lane. And then I thought, or I have like this 6-lane highway.
Exactly,
it's
yeah.
kind of fun. I can go all over.
And then whenever you're bored of something, you can move on to the next thing.
Yeah. So I'm going to finish this thing. I really am. Difficulty focusing, we did that one. Trouble listening. Failing to complete tasks. Poor organizational skills. A person may struggle to organize their work documents and belongings, manage sequential tasks, schedule their time, and meet deadlines. Sydney, your thoughts?
My room was absolutely horrific growing up. And it wasn't until I got prescribed medication that I realized, like, oh my gosh, I don't like being messy. I just am messy.
You cleaned your room like crazy.
I clean my room all the time now. I like love having a clean room. It like makes my anxiety so much lower, and like I feel like I can just like do everything when my room is clean.
I've noticed that. You've done that well.
But literally, I'm not kidding you, like age 1 through 20, my room was horrific.
It was. I mean, yeah.
And it's just funny because I totally, like, It's funny how uncomfortable I was probably making myself, just not
without
realizing
knowing,
that
right?
I like to be clean. I just can't do it sometimes.
Yeah. Okay. The poor organizational skills. Yeah, I really struggle with the poor organizational skills, managing sequential tasks. Oh, you know what? That was struggle. No, this is old. This diagnostic criteria is the current diagnostic criteria, but there is not a whole lot of acceptance built into this. It's the if you do these things, bad. But it's like, oh, I dig my ADHD now.
Yeah.
Avoiding tasks that require sustained focus. That's because they're dumb, right? Examples include completing reports and reviewing lengthy papers. Do you want a true story? So I wrote a book, and the book is done really well. It's about addiction, and I always told myself that, oh, if I ever write a book, I'll take it so serious. So first of all, there was a deadline, and I missed it, and then it was like missed it by 2 or 3 months, and then to the point where I was about to not lose the contract, but lose some of the money on it. So then I get it done at the last minute. That's an ADHD thing. But then we were supposed to then go through and edit it and go and look for mistakes. So I just was like, I'm sure somebody else will do that. Because it's long. I don't want to read all my own stuff.
Where was ChatGPT?
Oh, I know. And then, because there's a copy editor too. So I'm like, well, isn't that what that person does? But my chapters have typos in it.
He's real. He's authentic.
Oh, I remember when I started looking through it after it was published, like the hardback. I've got a copy over there. And then I was like, oh boy, that's probably my bad.
That's funny.
Okay. Here we go. Losing important items. I am still looking for my Adidas shoes that I lost in a Minnesota hotel 30 years ago. They were nice.
Yeah, I lose things all the time. I lose my phone constantly and my keys constantly.
You do lose your phone a fair amount.
I lose my water bottles. I lose my coffee. When I get coffee in the morning, I lose it in the house. I got this giant jug of water that's like supposed to last you for all day. I filled it up yesterday. I lost it for half of the day in our house. It's weird.
What a joy.
I don't even feel like a human when I
distracted easily. That's one I don't identify with.
Okay.
Forgetfulness. I thought the first thing it said a person with ADHD, I thought it said might forget their bail payments. I'm like, well, that's pretty specific. But their bill payments,
For
chores.
me, it's almost like not forgetfulness. It's like I'll be thinking about it the entire time and then I just won't do it.
Oh, yeah.
And then it's like you feel even worse.
I love Kate says that hotel isn't there anymore. I know, and they took my shoes.
They took your shoes.
They did.
Why would they do
but
that?
But what I think is really interesting too is if five or more of those symptoms have persisted for at least 6 months. And I always enjoy that part of a diagnosis because then if you've only got 4 of them, no problem. No ADHD. No, I think that one's
Just a rough patch.
Just a rough patch. You're going through a rough patch. That's
Smile. You'll be better.
Exactly. Okay,
happy.
so let's see. Okay, why do we stay with Oh, I didn't finish that one. ADHD diagnosis. Where'd it go? But general practitioner won't prescribe medication without a psychiatrist evaluation. So the reason why is that the ADHD medications are they're stimulants, and so they can be abused. But I was starting to look up though in the book ADHD 2.0, it has the best chapter on medication. It really does because a lot of it says literally the medication the most powerful tool that everybody fears. I like the way that they put that. And they say the number one question we hear from patients or their parents is, do you believe in Ritalin? And they said, we understand that people are really asking if we're of the school of doctors who prescribe medication to treat ADHD. He says, but we are often tempted to be liberal and reply, Ritalin is not a religious practice or principle, nor is it an agent of the devil. But there's a concept here that it says, okay, well, I feel like
someone said, what is Ritalin? It's a form of like ADHD medication.
Yeah, it's an ADHD medication. And so, but what's really fascinating is, so there are some people that tell me that when they take Adderall, Ritalin, Concerta, Vyvanse, any of those ADHD medications, that they feel more anxious. And I am not a psychiatrist. I am a marriage and family therapist. So this is just an opinion. I want to be very clear on that. But I find that ADHD is a little bit overdiagnosed, I think, at times. And there's a similar thing called VAST, Variable Attention ST. But it's the thing where the symptoms mimic those of ADHD, but it's more because of the way that we live these days, where everything is coming at you so fast, and so we're almost being geared up to have a shorter attention span, and
that could replicate into symptoms of ADHD.
Absolutely.
I feel like a lot of mental illnesses have overlap, and that's why it can be really hard to like. It can take a long time to figure out what you actually have, but don't give up.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
Did you think you had ADHD when you're...
Well, okay, I actually have a thought before I forget it. The thing that you said about how some people feel like the medication makes them anxious.
Oh, anxious, yeah.
I had like the complete opposite reaction. Because like for me, I would, when my ADHD was really bad, and because it's better now, I fixed it.
Sorry, that was a very loud laugh.
When it was bad, like, oh no, I forgot what I was going to say. Shoot.
Okay, watch this. I'll start talking and you're going to remember. Hey, Syd, let me read.
Oh, okay. When it was really bad,
every time,
I would get like, I would think that it was anxiety, because when I was if I was trying to have a conversation with anyone, a new person, or even like one of my friends, I would lose focus constantly in the conversation, so I wouldn't be able to like hold productive conversations with people, and then I would be in my head, I'd be like, wait, what did they just say? What was I just gonna say? And then my brain would just go blank. And this happened like when I first moved out. Yeah. Like in like a bunch of social situations, like my brain would literally just go blank, and I would just like start being super anxious and like overthinking. But then once I started taking medication, I was able to like see my thoughts from beginning to end. Like, it was like the thoughts in my head, like, had a period finally. You know what I mean? Yeah, yeah. And it's like, I could pay attention, and I could, like, engage in conversations with people, because I would hear what they were saying, and I wouldn't just be pinballing over here and over here, you know? Yeah. So it helped me a lot with my anxiety, and, like, it helped me so much with social anxiety, too.
I love that. No, that's good. So, because the anxiety piece, sometimes, though, I think if somebody doesn't really have it, then the medications are stimulants, and it can cause them to feel more anxious.
Or maybe you're on too high of a
dose. Well, I was going to read again out of the ADHD 2.0 book, which I call the Holy Scriptures. It says, when it comes to ADHD medication, the important thing to remember is there is no one-size-fits-all approach. The advice of Paul Winder, a professor at the University of Utah Medical School, and he says, someone we think is the father of biological psychiatry, says some drugs work in some people at some dose some of the time. Deep. But it's what you just said, though. The key is to be patient with your healthcare provider until you come up with a formula that works.
Yeah, I like that, though, because there's so many people that are so against medication. It's like, yeah, maybe it's not for you, or maybe you didn't take the right medication, but don't put other people down. Yeah. There's such a stigma around like taking medication, like taking antidepressants. Yeah. Like especially in like the like alpha man world, like it's just so sad to me, because those kind of people think that you just like go to the gym and you won't have depression anymore, and like those kind of people think that you're weak for taking antidepressants. But in my opinion, it is a complete opposite. Like if you choose to do that in your lowest place, like you are so strong. Yeah.
Because you're going against the grain, in essence.
Yeah, and you're doing something better for yourself.
And then let's get into our good old friend differentiation, where then if somebody is saying, I don't think you should take medication, that's a them thing. They don't know what it feels like to be you.
Good thing I'm not shoving medication down your throat.
Exactly, right. Maybe it roids if we're at the gym.
Let's go.
Gymming out, right? So I think where I was going with that, though, is it is a wild thing where if you are having this dopamine deficiency, then the ADHD medication can then have you feel, I always say, you kind of just feel very present, not overly anxious, but it can be an appetite suppressant. And so sometimes I think that people will start to feel more anxious because they won't eat.
Oh yeah,
have you run into that?
Yeah, I actually hate that about my medication. It sucks. Yeah. But I just have to like force myself to eat, literally.
I've never really had to do that. I was able to power through the I'm joking.
As you should.
The part. I was just clicking through here because there's just some stuff. There was a one quote that I thought it was really interesting. If you go get your diagnosis, and you may even find out that it isn't. Maybe it is anxiety. Maybe it is VAST, and it's like ADHD like symptoms. And then there are some wonderful, meditation, mindfulness, getting outside, those kind of things are going to help regardless. But
go touch grass.
Go touch grass. That's exactly it.
That's an insult, I'm pretty sure.
Is
I
it?
didn't mean that.
Is it okay? Because grass has feelings and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Oh, I was going to say, but there was a quote that I liked one time that said that if that is if you are dopamine deficient and you have ADHD and you are not trying a medication, that it is in essence like saying, I am nearsighted and I'm just going to squint, even though there are these glasses.
For the rest of my life.
For the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And then somebody else like, oh my gosh, glasses, these are amazing. I'm like, no, bro, those will get addictive. Right?
Mm-hmm. That's funny.
Man.
No, that's literally what it is, though.
True story. You do have to go get tested once a year from your psychiatrist if you're taking a medication like that. And so the first year that I ever took it, I had to go do a urine test. I was going to say pee test, but that's fine, right?
Yeah.
And then I thought this was so fascinating. I took it at the end of the day, and then they called me to come back in. And I remember saying to your mom, I'm like, oh my gosh, they called me back in. Like they found like cancer stuff in there or whatever.
In your pee.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's special. Something.
Good.
But then I go in there and I'm like, okay, give me the news, doc. And then it was a psychiatrist, and she said, so there were no traces of it's Ritalin, methylphenidate is the chemical compound, that you had no methylphenidate in your urine. And I was like, okay. And then she's like, do you want to explain that? And I was like, I have no...
did she think you were trapping?
Yeah, she thought I was like selling it to the middle school kids or whatever. And then, but why I tell that story is I thought it was fascinating because I had taken my last dose at, I want to say like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And so it was out of my system by the time. Yeah.
Wow.
Because the medications aren't, I feel like we're not being sponsored by the medication industry or whatever. So the question though was, so people do abuse it. And so a psychiatrist is really somebody that is going to know the medications well. And so and I appreciate your question too, won't prescribe it without a psychiatrist evaluation, and then you say advice, then it really is going to go on that journey of making the psychiatrist appointment. Here's a fun one. The first time that I got that appointment scheduled, I went in and I got my assessment, and then they gave me a paper. This was like on a Tuesday, and it said, Friday, you've got your next appointment. So I didn't look at the numbers that went with the day, Friday. So then I canceled some clients. I went in that Friday and I was like, I'm here. And they said, it's in 6 weeks. And so then I was like, I'm kind of like right here though. And it is ADHD, right? And I had to wait 6 weeks. So
Did you miss it?
No.
Nice.
Oh no. I remembered that one.
That's a hard thing. I hear that so much with people trying to get prescribed like ADHD meds. Like they're always missing their appointments and stuff, and I get that.
Yeah, okay. All right, so what's the podcast called? Thank you. Oh, Virtual Couch or Virtual Coach? I'm new here. Thank you. Virtual Couch is the mental health one. And then Waking Up to Narcissism is one. Don't let the title fool you, because I early on in that one, I feel like the term narcissism gets thrown around a lot. And I was very open about narcissistic personality disorder is really about 4 or 5% of the population, but we're all emotionally right. But we're all emotionally immature until we're not. And so I really talk about waking up to those narcissistic traits and tendencies.
And I feel like we all have them.
Yeah, yes.
We were just talking about narcissistic tendencies last week.
Yeah.
It's like I feel like everyone has their little things.
Yeah. The emotional immaturity is where
I guess that'd be a better way to term it.
That's why I say
saying narcissism. Yeah, you're right.
Because I mean, true grandiose malignant narcissism is not even. They're not even coming into therapy. They're not even listening to a podcast or anything. They're just being awesome, and they are going to tell you about it.
At least we could talk crap about them because they're not going to watch this.
Right. But emotional immaturity is I don't want to be wrong. I got to get rid of my discomfort. I didn't mean it that way. I didn't say it that way. It's like it really is. I'm so afraid of being alone and abandoned that I must manipulate or control you into this relationship, period, end of story, because I can't trust that if you have your own opinion, that doesn't mean that you think I'm wrong, and that means you're going to leave. Everything's about, and then you will abandon me, so I must control you to keep you in a trauma bond. Yeah.
It's sad. I've never, like, I don't know. I've kind of never understood, like, why people manipulate, because it's like, then do they even really love you, or did you just manipulate them into loving you? And it's like, I feel like it's not even real at that point.
So that's why I go with love or control. You can have one and not both in a relationship, but then the really narcissistic or emotionally immature person views control as love.
Oh, I hate that. Wow.
Yeah. And it's that thing again where if you go all the way back to exiting the womb, we need another human being to interact with to know that we exist. So if you weren't given the opportunity to just be and do and feel and think, and you didn't have somebody there that's saying, "Hey champ, what's that like? How can I help? What can I do to support you?" Instead of it's like, "Don't do that, you're wrong. How do you think that makes me feel? Now I need something from you." Then you exist to just like interact with another human and not to like be open and vulnerable and to have empathy and because that's too uncomfortable.
Wow.
Yeah, it's kind of a trip. Oh, the dream research. Okay, that is good. Are we answering people's questions? We have been. Can we ask for advice? Please do. Love your live. Thank you. I really appreciate that. I have social anxiety. Can I get help? Yeah.
I hate social anxiety.
And that's so prevalent. And I think that what do you have to say about it?
That's like, and I know this won't work for everyone, so that's why I don't know. Because I still don't even know what I do, but I kind of just have to lie to myself. I lie to myself all the time and just like tell myself like I'm fine, it's fine. I like that hippie idea that everyone on this like earth is just like a reflection of yourself, or like we're all we're all a combined collective consciousness or whatever.
Yeah.
So I kind of just try to see it like that. It's like, you are me, I am you. Like, it does not matter how I act in front of. Literally, it does. And I don't even know what I'm trying to say.
Say it, sister. This is good.
I just feel like, I don't know. I just feel like I spent so much of my life worrying about how I was portraying myself to people, and I spent so much of my life, like, in every instant, like, wondering how I was coming off to other people, and if I'm pretty, and if I'm being funny enough, and if I'm, and just, like, dropping that and like just doing things for me and only for me has like helped me a lot, I feel like.
Mm-hmm. And even when you just said that, what does that feel like at first though, when you say doing things for me?
It feels like uncomfortable and like, oh, are people not gonna like me?
Right.
Like, yeah, probably people aren't gonna like you. Who cares? You're you. At least you can like you, and you're the only person that you're stuck with for the rest of your life. You can leave anyone who doesn't like you. If you know you're a good person, then it's fine. And I just feel like also remembering that embarrassment isn't real.
Yeah, talk about that.
It's like, I don't know. It's another lie that I tell myself that I
believe. It's a
believe.
story that my brain is trying to hook me to, because if I believe or buy into the I'm embarrassed story, then I don't have to keep putting myself out there, and I can.
But yeah, I don't know. It's just like our minds are so weird. I used to get like anxiety about like coughing in a classroom at school. And like I would literally like hold in my cough all day because I'm like, what if people hear me cough and think it's gross? Like, that is insane. It's just like, it's like so much of our lives we live it for other people. Like, just live it for yourself.
Yeah.
Do whatever you want.
Cough. There you go. That's
coughed all over you.
Right.
You're not.
I honestly don't know who this person is, Shakti Gawain, but there's this, the title of this document is Random Quotes and Thoughts, and I just add stuff here. I hope everybody does that. Honestly, look at that, the heart on your head.
Someone said it isn't narcissistic to care about coughing. I was talking about social anxiety. Like, I would just get like, I can't explain it. That's what I'm saying. It's the most ridiculous thing ever. Yeah. No one in that classroom would remember me coughing and think it's gross.
But it's a you thing. But we all kind of have those thoughts. Yeah.
I just like, it's my reality.
Yeah. I mean, I think about it sometimes if I have to get up, if I'm at a class or an event or something and I have to get up, it's still, I mean, I like to sit here saying I'm this confident Zen person, but I still have a pause of, man, like, is it okay for me to get up right now? Yes, it is. And if somebody's like, you can't get up, it's like, well, I think I'm an adult human. It's okay.
Yeah, and it's like if somebody's looking at you and thinking you look funny when you get up, good thing you don't have to live inside their useless brains, right. You know?
So, like, this Shakti Gawain says, my primary relationship is with myself. All others are mirrors of it. As I learn to love myself, I automatically receive the love and appreciation that I desire from others. If I'm committed to myself and living my truth, I will attract others with equal commitment. My willingness to be intimate with my own deep feelings creates the space for intimacy with another.
I like that.
Yeah, because then it is the more that you are, and so all the things that all the people we're interacting with, and I like what you're saying. If we all part of the collective consciousness, all part of one, then somebody telling me something about myself, I will give that a good look. If somebody says I saw somebody earlier at some point said, "Can you slow down?" I used to feel bad about that, but you know what? This is kind of what I do. And so then if they don't like the speed that I communicate, I really do.
Then rewatch it in YouTube and
there
put
you
it in
go.
slow-mo.
And that's the part where it's like, oh, I mean it. I mean, like, man, bless their heart. I really appreciate that comment, because I have looked at that one before, and when I have tried to slow down my talk, then I'm not being me. And so, and I remember I was speaking once, and I had an iPad up at the podium, and there was somebody in the crowd that I knew, and they just texted, "Slow down." And I remember, that rattled me, you know? I mean, but at that point it was like, but I'm being me. Like, this is me. This is what I do. This is how I say it. So when somebody's like, "I think you should do it this way," I used to think, I should. Because this random person who doesn't know what it's like to be me, maybe they have a good point. Now, if I really feel that would be helpful, I can start to work on it.
Of course, yeah.
Right? So I do want the feedback. I promise I do. But that it ultimately is a me thing.
But make sure that the feedback, it correlates with your own personal values or your own view of yourself, right? Like, if it's something productive, of course, that's always good. But I feel like when we focus so much of our lives on getting validation from others and how do other people perceive us, then it's hard to love yourself because you're being yourself. You're being a reflection of everyone around you to make them comfortable.
Yes.
But it's like, you deserve to just be you and be loved for you, and then you can love yourself and everything's fine.
It is. Well, and that's the part where she's saying then I'll attract others with equal commitment. I think that when people are trying to get someone to love them, then they typically are in that relationship with somebody that is not showing up to love that person. And then that's what starts to cause that almost that trauma bond, because it's like, I am desperate to get this person to love me who is not loving me. And that is a lot of work. So then when you love yourself, then you are no longer trying to beg this person to love you. And it's sad, because, you know, that's something you've been trying to do, and that comes from your childhood, you know, where if you just felt like, okay, I was never seen, I was never understood by a parent, then if you were to get in a relationship with somebody that says, "I see you, you know, I want to be with you," it actually would feel a little bit overwhelming. So that's why we end up finding ourselves in those kind of relationships.
Oh, okay.
You know, it's kind of a trip.
Yeah.
I do, though, believe we're designed to deal with emotion in concert with another human. That's why I like to say that we're all emotionally immature until we're not. That we join enmeshed and codependent, and we start going through life together, and then the hope is that then we will both now become emotionally mature by interacting with one another. That's the hope.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's kind of cute. That kind of clicked for me.
Yeah. That's
like,
the hope.
We're all born messed up, and then we just have to figure it out by talking to each other. That's kind of cute.
And that's what it is. So that's why even when we're talking about the emotionally immature narcissistic person, unfortunately has the negative view of that, where they need to interact with another human so they can make them feel bad and put them in a one-up position. So that's where it's like, I'm going to interact with you, and now I'm going to tell you anything that you say. Oh, if you have a different opinion than me, you must think I'm wrong. But I know what to do with that. I'll tell you you're wrong. I'll gaslight you. And then I will manipulate you until you feel bad, and then I get to tell you how bad you are, and I feel better, and I exist. That's the unhealthy version. The healthy version is my beloved 4 pillars.
Yeah.
Somebody says something, I'm assuming good intentions. I'm not going to tell them they're wrong, or I don't believe them, because that's what they think and feel. Then I'm going to ask them questions before comments. Tell me more. Help me understand. And I'm not going to go victim status and say, I guess my opinion doesn't matter. You know, and that's the way we start to have mature conversations.
I like that.
Social anxiety, we did that. If somebody might be a narcissist, what can they do to stop themselves from becoming manipulative? Asking for a friend. That makes me laugh. That's a great question. Because if you really are asking for a friend, you're trying to give your friend the aha moment or the epiphany. But not going to work. If you're asking for yourself, wonderful. Seriously, like, even the fact you're willing to take a look at it is a positive thing. And that's in my Waking Up to Narcissism podcast, that's where I talk about, if you are asking yourself, am I the narcissist? You're not, because you wouldn't be even thinking about that. Now, if you're like, wait a minute, I couldn't be, like, it's got to be them, Now we're starting to look at, okay, I might be really emotionally immature because I am unwilling to take a look at what I might be doing in the relationship. But the fact that I'm saying it, we're starting down the right path.
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
It's still difficult. I love the asking. Asking for a friend always made me laugh. Oh, here we go. I always like when we get this one. Where did I get my hair jewels?
Oh, I think I said it in the last one, but I swear I said it wrong. I said they're on Amazon. Well, these ones are on Amazon. What did I search up? I search up.
Okay, there's like
hair.
a lot of these. Look at this. Her hair jewels. Link or describe them. Her hair, I love it.
Oh my gosh, what did I think I searched into Amazon crystal hair charms, or was it crystal hair pins? And then I just used like pliers, and I braided my hair first, and then I just put them in after. And then like the other ones are from like Michael's and Joann's and stuff. But yeah, you can like keep them in for a couple of days and stuff,
really?
so it's cute, yeah.
Okay. Would you ever, I feel like, what do I know? It's been 30 years since I had hair.
Let's get you some extensions.
What would they extend to?
What do you mean?
Like, don't they have to hook onto something?
A wig. Weave. We can get you a weave.
Okay. Remember I had a hair hat? Do you remember that?
Yeah. Let's bring it back.
Okay. There's some really good stuff here. Her hair, I love it. Your hair is gorgeous. Hair jewels.
Thanks, guys.
We already
You're
covered
so
the
sweet.
speak slower. I love my clean room. Makes me anxiety less. I
Yeah.
had a lady, her name's Anna. She was really cool. She was on my Virtual Couch podcast. And it's so funny. We were talking about decluttering. And I don't know. I feel like I had more aha moments in that episode, which I like all my episodes, but I wasn't expecting a lot out of that. But we talked about emotional clutter, and she talked about, let's say that your garage is messy. Ours has been a little bit messy, and I look at that as a me thing. And if your neighbor's garage is not messy, then when they pull up, they just walk in the house. When I pull up, I think, man, I really need to clean this garage sometime. Mm-hmm. And just even that thought kind of makes me feel a little bit, ugh. So then that kind of starts playing into,
that makes sense.
Yeah. So she was kind of saying, oh, if you clean the garage, then it does. So I think that cleaning your room.
Cleaning is like therapeutic for me now too.
Yeah.
When I'm medicated. For some reason, when I'm not on my ADHD meds, I hate cleaning. I don't know what it is.
Yeah. Your amazing mother, my wonderful wife, is the one that is in charge of all the questions. Somebody asked last time, where's your wife? And so she's manning the questions, which is amazing. She just said, can you clip that so I can send it to somebody? Wendy says it was something about ADHD. So do something about ADHD, maybe? Clip that? Clip that bad boy? Okay, this is a great question. Do you think it's inevitable to bring past trauma to new relationship? We haven't talked about Gypsy Rose.
How long has it been?
An hour.
She's staring at us at the screen
I know,
right
I
there,
put her
and
on
we
that
neglected
monitor.
her. But we'll get into that. We'll start with that. I have to go pee, and then we can.
Okay, wait. So while you do that, I'll talk about I want to hear your thoughts about past trauma in your relationships.
100%, right?
Oh yeah.
You can.
Yeah. Oh, you do.
And a lot of times, you always do, right? And a lot of times it's subconscious.
Yeah, for sure.
And like you can find, I feel like that's where you can find yourself like taking it out on your partner when you don't actually mean it.
Yeah, and I think being aware. Do you want to go pee?
Yeah.
Okay.
Bye guys.
Okay. I'll talk about the rat. Wait, do you want to hear that stuff?
The rat.
The dream study stuff.
Oh yeah, I do.
Okay. What do you not want to hear about?
Whatever you're talking about right now. Go.
Okay. Okay, let me see if there's a couple of questions. Oh, so somebody asked, how do I know if I have ADHD? I know that we kind of talk about, don't turn to Dr. Google or Google things like that, but it's a good place to start to look up an online ADHD assessment. As a matter of fact, there's a website that I always have up, and it's called... It's Attitude, and it's ADD. Okay, it's attitudemag.com. ADDITUDEMAG.com. And it's a great website for all things ADHD, and they have some assessment tools, right? Yeah, I'm looking right even here. Symptoms and tests. And as a matter of fact, on one of my podcasts today, I was looking at just going through one of those tests on air, that sort of thing. So go there and you can get a test or take a test and see if you pass. But here's something. I highly recommend just being so honest about taking an online test, a personality test, because I've had situations. I still remember so well this client of mine that was suffering from some paranoid delusions, and so then we finally talked him into going and getting a test, and then he came back, and I thought, okay, he's going to get a good antipsychotic medication. Those work amazing. And then he came back and he's like, no, they didn't find anything. And I said, well, I'm a little bit surprised. And he said, yeah, well, I didn't put the real answers on the test. I didn't want them to think I was crazy. So I just thought, wow, that's tough. So if you're taking an ADHD test, okay, I talked about taking an ADHD test. Sydney's back. But if you're doing it, just be very honest with yourself as you're taking that test. Okay, Gyps. No, we were talking about the past traumas. I think this is really good. So do you think it's inevitable to bring past trauma to a new relationship? So it is inevitable, but I don't want that to sound like cue the ominous music like, oh no. Because it's almost like, of course you're going to, and now, honest to goodness, what an opportunity to be aware and to now be aware of how you're going to show up. Do you want to hear something funny? So there's what I see a lot of times. So if I work with somebody, let's say this person, we're going to put them right here. This is the narcissist or the highly, highly emotionally immature. Now they're in a relationship with somebody. And if you find yourself in that relationship, you're pretty emotionally immature as well. No judgment. That just kind of is. There's another narcissist expert that says the higher narcissist and the lower narcissist. I like the narcissistic and then the emotionally immature, or typically the pathologically kind person that finds themselves in that relationship. Okay. So they get out of that relationship with the narcissist and now they get in a relationship, let's say, with somebody that's kind of more
emotionally mature.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. And now they suddenly become a little bit of the nutty one. So now then this person says, hey, I'm going to go spend the weekend with my friends. And then they're saying, okay, what, really? Like, how do I know that? And if this person's like, well, because that's what I said I'm doing. Like, that's what I don't understand. Mm-hmm. Then this person sounds kind of crazy. So that's the kind of past trauma that you might bring into a relationship.
Though, right? Because like your brain pattern has changed by the time you're in that new relationship.
Yeah, it has. Yeah, have you heard of complex post-traumatic stress disorder?
No.
So CPTSD is like relationship trauma, relationship PTSD. And this is a little bit wild because there's some of the, I've done a couple episodes on this. I say that I do episodes on it because I never want to just throw stuff out there. I always want to say, if I've done an episode, I promise there's some data or research around it. But CPTSD is when you're in an emotionally immature narcissistic relationship. The data shows that your short-term memory, is called your hippocampus, actually shrinks, and then your amygdala, the fight or flight response, it grows. And what's happening is your brain is adapting over time to say our short-term memory not necessary, but our fight or flight response, we need more blood flow there. That's kind of sad.
Yeah.
Right. And then what's really crazy is when people say, man, I have a horrible memory. So if you've been in that kind of a relationship, your short-term memory is what then eventually feeds into your long-term memory. So if your short-term memory, if all the blood flow is being used for your fight or flight response, then you're going to struggle with some memory issues. And you're spending your time trying to make sense of the nonsense in the relationship instead of being and doing.
No, that was super interesting. I didn't know that. Like your brain chemistry can actually like change.
Yeah.
To protect you in a way.
Yeah. I mean, it's about the blood flow and where it goes and that's why, okay, back to what we talked about earlier. If I'm continually telling myself I'm a big old piece of garbage and what's wrong with me, then your brain eventually is like, hey, this is what we do. Let's keep that blood flow going through this area of the brain. But if you're just being and doing and turning to the breath and lowering that heart rate, then over time your brain says, oh, this is what we do?
I wish more people would talk about that because like it really is just like exercising, right?
Yeah,
like you have
really
to
is.
like train your brain to be how you want it to be.
100%.
And like you said, like it always goes to the negative, like, but I truly do feel like the harder you work to like not go to the negative, the more that you won't, I guess. I don't know what I'm saying.
No, you're right. But it goes back to I can't say this enough. I think the wrong tools are out there though, because then we start with what's wrong with me? Nothing. You're you, being you, doing you. And then we think, don't think that. We've already covered that one. My brain's like, I will think it more. Mm-hmm. There's a clip. Please go watch the clip that Sydney put up. It's the one about don't like your adult boyfriend or like.
I clickbaited it.
What was it called? It was really
don't.
good.
It's called I Hate My Daughter's Boyfriend.
Yeah, because you said a funny thing.
I don't have a boyfriend. I don't want one.
Right. There's a clip in there though where you said if I told you break up with the person, you were like, I'll be marrying the person.
Yeah.
Like that's the way our brains work.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think some of the challenges we think, what's wrong with me? I'm broken, and then we think, don't think that. And that is just not, that's what people are just doing, and they think that's going to help. But instead, you're not broken, you're human. And then instead of don't think that, it's back to what we said earlier. Check that out. Here's what I'm thinking. The whole vibe and energy of that is so much better. And then the way your brain starts to work is it's just like, that is a thing. That's a thought. Mm-hmm. That's a feeling. check that out. I'm not
Yeah.
broken, I'm human. And now I start doing.
Yeah. And I feel like naturally we put like a judgment to every thought in our head.
Yeah.
Like try to find a reason. Like, why did I do that? What does that mean? But it's like, no, it's just, some things just are.
They just
It's
are.
not a big deal.
Is this the part of the the live where you let us know that we're just floating around on a rock?
Nothing is real. None of you are real. Everything around you is fake.
I don't even know if you're
think
here.
No, I'm not. You think that's a wall? No. Your brain's just making it a wall.
Did we talk about this thing called solipsism yet on a live?
No, what's what?
This is cool. Okay, everybody sit back and prepare for philosophical...
Gandhi Tony's coming out?
This is a trip. You know what? And I have not done an episode on this. Please do this too. If journal things. And if your brain says, yeah, but I'm worried somebody will read it, or it won't be a narrative, or it won't sound right, then that's just a story your brain's trying to hook you to get you to just not have to do something new. Because I have so many Google documents open, and I used to think, what's wrong with me? But now it just is. I'm going to write down things, a lot of things. Do you do that?
That journaling helped me so much with my ADHD and my anxiety. Like writing little, just like reflecting on my day or whatever, or my thoughts. Because I feel like with ADHD, like I can never like have a beginning and an end to a thought. It's like I start having a thought and then another one jumps over top of it and then another one jumps over top of it. But when I journal, like especially when I'm anxious, it just is really relaxing to see like all my thoughts in one cohesive, calm
I like that.
page, you know?
Yeah. And now look at this. Now I cannot even find... I have to tell you this.
That does not even look like an English word.
This one's fun.
You guys ready to have some fun?
I know, and this is like the biggest break that I think we've had this whole time. Here it is.
Good luck.
You are not the center of the universe. When we try to understand and imagine the vastness of the universe, we begin to understand the insignificance of ourselves. Now, this gets good, I promise. This is not there's a cool version of this. We may experience ourselves as the center of it all because we see everything exclusively through our own eyes, which that's just what we do. Everything's from our own lens. But most would agree that we are not the center of the universe, except for the aforementioned narcissist, right? Mm-hmm. But of course, this is where it gets fun. But of course, we really don't know. So solipsism is the idea that only one's mind is sure to exist, because we can't actually prove that the external world, including the minds of others, is real. Mm-hmm. Because the reality is, to this day, one cannot experience the existence of another person's mind other than your own. So if your mind is the only one in existence, then other people's opinions are actually just illusions. Do you see? Mm-hmm. Like, this is that one where...
Yeah, I fully agree with this.
Like, you don't even exist until I interact with you, or I don't exist until you interact with me. Mm-hmm. Or one person watching is the only person that exists, and we're just animated here when they look on their phone. That's like the thought. But here's why. It's this circular reasoning of philosophical psychology, which is really cool. Because here we go then. But I like the concept. If you just stop right there, then in reality, we don't even know if another person exists or their thoughts do. So of course their opinions are illusions. So why on earth do we give them so much importance?
Power.
Yeah. So then it says, thus, there is nothing to discuss about what other people think about you because their opinions and maybe even they are not real. But even though solipsism could be the reality, there seems to be a consensus that other minds do exist. So if that's the case, then other people's opinions are real. But here's where now it circles back to something.
They still don't matter.
But if all people have minds comparable to our own and are all immersed in their troubles just like we are, then they're probably not thinking about us as much as we believe. And moreover, most people are so busy concerning themselves with what others think of them that they really don't have time to take a good look at the very people that they try to impress. So I think that is just such a trip. Mm-hmm. That one lose you?
No,
Okay, cool. Okay.
I fully agree with that.
Okay. I didn't mean that to be like a... Do I need to draw it with a crayon? I wasn't trying to say that way. Okay, the past traumas into new relationships, to put a little button on that one, then with that awareness, in a perfect world, then you are showing up and you're aware. So when that person says, I'm going out this weekend, there's two ways to do this. One is, it really is, if you feel safe with this person, then you can say, check this out. When you say that, check out what it brings up to me. I immediately go to, you're not really going out this weekend. And that's where, if it's a really emotionally safe, emotionally consistent person, then I would hope that they would say, oh man, that would be hard if you feel that way. Like that, I appreciate you sharing that. Because that would tell me what that was like in your previous relationship. Because if they go, Wow, really? Like that's where you go with that?
You're going to take it out on me?
Yeah, that's a bit of a red flag.
Yeah.
Or if you're aware of it, then it's your opportunity to sit with that discomfort, take it to your therapist and say, okay, I want to control this person. I want to scream at them and I want to say, are you kidding me? You're going out with your friends, but that is a me issue. So what I'm going to work on is just being and doing, staying present. And then when I happen to say, how's your weekend? And they're like, oh, I miss you so much. Let me FaceTime you or whatever. Then we're like, oh, okay. You know? Yeah.
And I feel like I used to, when I was a crazy girlfriend, like I would feel like I would want to prevent my ex from doing something bad, you know? Like I would want to do anything to like prevent him from making me feel bad, I guess.
Yeah.
But now I see it so differently. Like if I'm ever talking to a guy, I will not control, I will not argue, I will not do anything. It's all about me just watching what they're gonna do.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I like this.
I just like watching and like, that sounded creepy, but
just watch him. Do you just stare and try not to blink for like an hour?
I don't speak either.
Okay.
But no, it's just about like seeing who that person is and how emotionally mature they are and seeing how they react. And if they react in a stupid way, if they're yelling at me, gaslighting me, arguing with me, then instead, where in the past I would be like, why are you doing that? Like, why, like, don't you love me? Like,
totally.
why? And like getting mad.
Yeah.
But now it's just an acceptance. That's who you are. And I'm not here to fix that, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, you deserve to be with someone who has the same emotional intelligence as you, I feel like.
Do, and that they're curious about your experience and they're there and they're telling me more and they're, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like if someone is emotionally immature and they're gonna do something messed up in a relationship, there's nothing you're gonna say that's gonna stop that from happening.
No, it's kind of sad.
And what's better is just to see that so you can leave sooner, I think.
Yeah. That's hard. I mean, because one way of controlling the relationship is not showing up, because then I don't even have to put myself out there and that other person needs to deal with it.
I don't get that one.
It's like, so I'll have people that I'll work with somebody and then they'll say, okay, I know that my partner is wants more connection or they want to do more together or whatever, but I can't do it. I don't want to be that uncomfortable. I can't, like, what if that doesn't work? What if it's scary? So then it's like, so I'm just going to keep not doing it and then it'll just get better. But meanwhile, that other person's having a completely different experience, And so then and this is the part as a couples therapist where if you don't know what you don't know about how a relationship can be, then sometimes you're just so afraid to kind of try to be a part of a relationship. And I have lots of those relationships where there's an emotionally immature person and they're figuring out that they deserve better. But there are a lot of relationships where people come into therapy because they just want it better. Nobody's trying to ruin the other person. Nobody's overly controlling, but they just don't know what they don't know. And sometimes you need another human being to kind of say, here's what you do. Because if anything, now you can at least start to do. And now you'll know, oh, that does work. That doesn't work. I never knew that could work.
Yeah, and it's not your fault. Like no one's parents had a handbook,
No,
and
for
like
sure.
they should put something out there, honestly. But I feel like therapy's really good for that.
Okay, sorry here. He's the therapist. Who is she?
I don't know, guys. Stop asking. I don't know what to say.
Oh wait, the one right above. Okay, look at these two right above that. Somebody said, I feel like she's actually the smartest person in the room. And I am fine with that.
That's so not true.
How dare they?
Really funny.
No, it's really good. And then somebody said, she makes some really good points.
So.
That's good, though. And then the other person, there's one above
nice.
that I really appreciate, too. They say that there's healthy narcissism. This is a good one. Let me kind of go on this little train of thought, because this is one of the things that I'm really taking ownership of, trying to change a little bit of the narrative out there. So back to this author, Eleanor Greenberg, who writes a lot about narcissism, and I love her work. So that's where I'm saying I'm giving her full credit. She has, in one of her articles about the truth about narcissistic personality disorder, she says normal versus pathological narcissism. So she says, unfortunately, in the English language, the word narcissism has come to mean two entirely different things, depending on whether it's being used formally as a diagnosis, as a narcissistic personality disorder, or informally as a synonym for positive self-regard. Now, have you ever heard of it as positive self-regard? Like healthy narcissism, truthfully. Yeah, so and it's because it's been such a buzzword for the last several years. So she says, I'm often asked, isn't a little bit of narcissism healthy and normal? And she said, I'd like to clarify that distinction before I go on. Now, here's where I jump in. So she talks about normal, healthy narcissism and pathological defensive narcissism. And I think it's going to make a lot of sense. So I say every chance I get, I take her definition of normal, healthy or narcissism, and I replace the word narcissism with ego. Because I feel like we're just living in a day and an age where people can't even imagine a healthy version of narcissism.
But if there is, I feel like that's important to talk about, right?
Yeah, so here...
I do hate I don't like just, like, I don't know, the idea that, like, a narcissist can't change at all. I mean, I guess this isn't changing that, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'd like to know that there's a silver lining.
Okay, so here's the definition, she says, of normal, healthy narcissism. And I'm going to jump in and put the word ego in after I say the word narcissism, because I talk about healthy ego often. Normal, healthy narcissism, this is a realistic sense of positive self-regard that's based on the person's actual accomplishments. That's a big point. So, and this will make so much sense here too, I think. It's relatively stable because the person has assimilated into their self-image the success that came as a result of their actual hard work to overcome real-life obstacles. Because it's based on real achievements, normal, healthy narcissism, so that's where I jump in and say normal, healthy ego, is relatively impervious to the minor slights and setbacks that we all experience as we go through life. Normal narcissism or normal, healthy ego causes us to care about ourselves, do things that are in our real self-interest, and it's associated with genuine self-respect. One can think of it as something that's inside of us. So, and I think what really makes this make more sense is after I read the definition of then pathological defensive narcissism, because and I want to be
I just ask, is just saying like being like confident,
but it's confidence based off of real life achievements.
Exactly,
that's
confident
the difference,
because you know who you are and you know that you value your
I'm
things
glad
that you
we're
do
talking
or
about
whatever.
this. Yeah,
but then I don't have a but then.
Okay, because now let me read pathological defensive narcissism. This is a defense against feelings of inferiority. So the person dons a mask of arrogant superiority in an attempt to convince the world that he or she is special. But inside, inside the person feels very insecure about his or her actual self-worth. And this facade of superiority is so thin that it's like a helium balloon. One small pinprick will deflate it. So this makes the person hypersensitive to minor slights that somebody with healthy narcissism or healthy ego would not even notice. Instead, somebody with this type of defensive narcissism is easily wounded, frequently takes any form of disagreement as criticism, that's huge, and is likely to lash out and devalue anybody who they think is disagreeing with them.
That made me feel bad for them.
Well, that's where this is one where she talks about it's a childhood defense mechanism. They're constantly on guard trying to protect their status. Pathological narcissism can be thought of as a protective armor on the outside. And I've said this on a podcast or two, so just being really open. The reason I go so big on this concept is so I spent 10 years in a career that I didn't like at all, the computer industry, but I didn't know that you could like a career. I mean, as far as I knew, you get in a career and you just do it, and that's just all it is. So when I think about pathological defensive narcissism, it says defense against feelings of inferiority. I felt so inferior in that industry because I wasn't a computer programmer. I was in sales and marketing. I was around all these people that were letting me know how much they knew about computers. I'm getting asked all these questions I really don't know anything about. So then it says the person dons a mask of arrogant superiority in an attempt to convince the world that he or she is special. So you find that the emotionally immature narcissistic person often they're just trying to convince you that they know what they're talking about. And they talk about things that they don't even know about. So somebody that knows about that knows that that narcissist is full of crap.
Yeah.
I had an example recently where the person was saying that their parent had said that they had set these records in their junior college days of like track and field or something. But then the person said, they wanted me to stay all 4 years and compete. Well, junior college athletics has a 2-year, you can, I mean, I see your red shirt 1 year. But so the person, they don't even know what they don't know. So they're saying, oh yeah, I was so good that this junior college wanted me to stay for even more years and compete.
Sure you didn't get held back, bestie?
Well, it doesn't even work that way. So this person went and looked up at that college, and turns out their parent didn't even.
Oh yeah, held back from college. You can tell I dropped out. Continue.
But they didn't even do it. And I remember I spoke with somebody once when we first moved to California, and I had just tried to play baseball in college, not very successfully. And so I was just saying, oh yeah, I like baseball. And this person said that they had gotten drafted to play professional baseball, but then they said there's an American League and a National League. but you're playing professional baseball. And they said, yeah, I got drafted by an American League team, so I decided to quit because I wanted to play for a National League team. And right away, I'm like, that isn't a thing. That is not a thing. You would play for any team. So that's like the example of the pathological defensive narcissism. So inferior. So they're so worried. They want to convince the world they're so special that then they put out this stuff. And that's where if you're around the emotionally immature narcissistic person, and then you just want to call them out on it. You're like why wouldn't you have wanted to just play baseball? Like if you played that long to play pro, you're playing, and then they're like, yeah, not me, and then you're like, that makes no sense.
Not a sellout.
Exactly, like all that kind of dumb stuff. So then that healthy ego is based off a real life experience. So then I become a therapist,
I feel like egos are bad.
That's what your ego is like it's like your sense of self. In my marriage course, the guy that helped me create it, this guy Preston, he talked about, your ego is your lovable security guard. Like your ego is like protecting yourself. Your ego is the lens you see things through. And I often look at it like, I don't know why, but I think of it sometimes as you're in a barrel. Like your barrel is your ego. So even when you have to step outside of your ego to try and listen and understand somebody else's point of view, because when you're in your barrel, when you're seeing things through your own ego, you're interpreting things through your lens of self. It is your
bias,
view of the world. It is bias, 100%. Yeah. So that's the work you have to do, is to step outside of your ego to be able to try to even understand what somebody else's experience is. But then I always say the reason I do the barrel thing is, but you still got to put your hand over on the barrel and check yourself, because it's like, okay, when I want to tell them they're wrong, I'm like, that's through my lens.
Yeah, right? And everyone's perception is different. I like that. Yeah,
so what's a trip, though, is so then I become a therapist, and now I love this stuff. I watch it, I eat it up. I want to just know more and more. So the normal healthy ego or normal healthy narcissism, now we go back to that realistic sense of positive self-regard based on the person's actual accomplishments. I cannot get enough of this. It's relatively stable because the person has assimilated into their self-image the success that came as a result of their actual hard work to overcome real life obstacles. You find a thing that you love, and you never knew you could love something that much, and you read it, and you work with it, and you podcast about it, and you write it. And it is just, so because it's based on real achievements, it's impervious to the slights and setbacks we all experience as we go through life. So now if somebody's telling me, I think what you're saying is dumb, I'm good with that. That is no problem. Like thanks for listening, because at least you're hearing some things.
Yeah.
When I was in the computer industry, if somebody said, I think you're dumb, I'm like, actually, I'm really smart. Let me tell you some other things that I don't really know about. And you don't even know you're doing it.
Yeah.
And so anyway, healthy ego. And this is where I say, Jesus, Buddha, Gandhi, Mother Teresa, Martin Luther King, healthy ego. Because if you have healthy ego and you find the thing that matters to you and you're doing it, then people can tell you they don't like it. It's like, okay, well, I'm going to keep doing it because this isn't a you thing, it's a me thing. And then, the healthy ego to change the world.
Yeah. And it's not the type of narcissism where you're saying you're wrong and I'm right.
Right.
It's just saying like, oh, that can be right for you, but this can also be right for me because I know who I am and I know what I want to do, kind of thing.
Yeah.
I like that. So yeah, everyone go be a narcissist. It's healthy. It's normal.
The healthy ego version. But I really do like talking about that, because I will often say in my podcast, I'm coming from my healthy ego, and I realize people don't, it's not like people know what I'm saying. It probably sounds pretty egotistical to say that,
Yeah, it's like kind of like being like, okay, guys, I'm about to be really humble right now.
Yeah,
but,
right? And that's the that's the other
yeah.
one. Like, man, let me be really super real and humble with you guys, right?
Yeah, but I do like this because I feel like there is like a happy medium, right? Because like obviously like narcissism is not good.
Right.
But there is like something you can pull from that. It's like the world doesn't revolve around you, but you're the only person. I don't even know what revolve means, bro.
Yeah, that was right.
But the world doesn't revolve around you, but you only ever have to be in your brain. So you really shouldn't care what other people think.
No. But interacting with another person gives you an opportunity to self-confront, feel all the feelings, see what's going on.
And see things from their different perspectives are good. Like you want to be proved wrong in a conversation because then you're going to learn something new.
Oh, okay, I did not know that.
Exactly. It's like if you just like, I don't know, if you just push everyone away because they don't have the same opinion as you, you will never learn or grow at all.
You're living in an echo chamber. You're going to I just want to hear the things that make me feel better.
Yeah, like you're going to age, you're going to get old and wrinkly, but you're still gonna be a baby.
Was that like a dig on me?
No, not you. What? Like,
I'm kidding.
Mentally, you're literally a child. Like, we have to hear different ideas and different.
Yep.
I don't know.
No, we can't take them in, right?
Yeah.
I dig that, Syd. Somebody says you're really smart.
Thanks.
I love this one. Let's see. It's Marina. Also, I think some people view diagnosis as an end goal as opposed to a place to start. That's a really good one, too. Yeah, just start doing and being. And then if somebody says, okay, I don't want to get the wrong diagnosis, or, well, just, you can start with, so based on what I'm thinking and feeling and doing, then this is the diagnosis. And now it doesn't mean a prison sentence. You now have that. But it's a place to start. And that's the thing about the doing. If you're just worrying and ruminating and beating yourself up all the time, what you're not doing is doing. And when you're doing and you're interacting with people and things, it's like then you have a chance to discover things you like and you don't like and things you didn't know. And yeah.
And I never saw it as like prison. Like when I figured out that I had ADHD, it was like the best day ever because everything made sense all of a sudden, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Rick, not every bad person is a narcissist. People need to stop late. Yeah, and check out my Waking Up to Narcissism. I did the thing where I only read half of it and I only said half of the sentence. I will slow down. Not every bad person is a narcissist. People need to stop labeling people narcissistic. Yes. And so go check out my Waking Up to Narcissism podcast, because that's kind of been the whole vibe there. Yeah.
No, I agree with that, though, because it's like, it is easy for me to be like all hard and being mean about narcissism or whatever, but it seriously does make me feel bad, because it's like that person did not choose to grow up in a childhood where that was created for them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They were just subjected to that childhood. So it makes me feel really bad, honestly, for like people who are narcissistic, because it's not their choice.
No, yeah.
That sucks. Like, what do we do? Put them on an island and let them all yell at each other?
That would be a great like Netflix thing, Narcissist Island, right?
A reality show?
Yeah.
Oh, that'd go crazy.
It would. Narcissist, yeah. But I appreciate what you're saying. This is almost like sometimes I want to there. So we.
Oh my gosh! Sorry. Can I just take
Yeah, we
back
did it at
what
the
I
same
just
time.
said? Though?
Take it back.
Put them on an island? What am I saying? That was literally insane. It's like they're just regular people too, though.
If I was talking about the reality show, like they're not gonna stay on the island.
Yeah.
They're just like they'll come back.
But what are your thoughts on that? Like,
What are you
supposed to do?
Yeah, so we got one of the TikToks that we put together is where we're talking about my friend Ross Rosenberg, who wrote the book Human Magnet Syndrome, and we talked about the pathologically kind person often ends up with the pathological defensive narcissist, because they are so kind that they want to stay and try to help that person figure things out, but then that causes the human magnet syndrome, the trauma bond. They can't get out of that. And so when you can help somebody eventually get out of that, which is a lot of the work that I get a chance to do, then down the road, it is wild. I almost feel like the end of the journey is when the person that was in the trauma bond lost their sense of self, now finds themselves, does all their work, and then they have empathy for that person that has caused them a lot of harm. And again, I don't even like saying it, because some people are probably hearing this thinking, how on earth can I have empathy for this person that's ruined my life? You know?
And you should, and if that's how you feel, you should.
That's where you're at. We're meeting you right where you're at.
Totally.
But then there are people that get to that point, and it's far down the road where then they're like, man, that guy never had a chance, or that girl never had a chance. Now, I didn't either until I did.
Yeah.
But that's tough, you know?
Yeah. But then there are some people that go through really crappy childhoods, and like they still don't end up. So what is that?
Oh, I know. We're a combination of our nature, nurture, birth order, DNA, abandonment, rejection,
it has
hope,
to be
fear,
a combo,
dreams.
right? It's not nature versus nurture.
No, it's
what
all those
it?
other things too. It's I just talked about. Do you remember? I just talked about him on a podcast. Our friend Abner Apsley.
Yeah.
He's like a genetic PhD candidate, and he studies epigenetics. And I remember
he was so good at piano.
Yeah, it's amazing at piano. But he taught me this, and this blows my mind. Because I was saying, okay, we've mapped out the human genome, and I was like, when are we going to just be able to figure everything out? And then he said, well, we actually have 20,000 genes and 37 trillion cells, and each gene has an on-off switch, and that switch can flip within milliseconds based off environmental.
Ew, I don't like that for some reason.
No,
all of us have those in our body?
Yeah. 20,000 genes and 37 trillion cells.
Why are there so many?
We're just doing and being. big bunch of cells.
What does he mean they switch on and off?
Well, that's this concept called epigenetics, and this is fascinating. So then you may have like the genetic predisposition for depression, but if you happen to grow up in a very loving home and by the beach and you make, I don't know, maple syrup for a living, then your those genes won't be expressed. So
seriously?
They may not be. Then later in
Could
life
they
you
later?
Can, yeah.
Is that why some people develop
Yeah.
mental illnesses later?
Yeah.
They just don't
so
show up.
So the genetic expression. So, or somebody can have a, you know, or you, like there's a, I talked about this on one of the episodes of the podcast. I just realized it's 9:20.
When did we start?
7:30.
Whoa.
I know. I got like clients in the morning and stuff like that. So.
And we didn't even talk about Gypsy.
That is funny. And I feel like I don't want to give her not start. So we'll do a part 2 and we'll talk about like this weekend when we come on. Should we do that?
Yeah. Well, no, we still will get to that because there's so much I want to get into with that. Her mom
I know there is.
crazy.
Well, I think it'll be good if you put out the Murder on the Couch episode that we did.
You're
and then
so
everyone
right.
watch it. Then we'll come back on here Sunday night for a live.
And we'll talk some
And we'll talk
crap.
about
Not crap.
yeah,
Good things.
I know. It is funny because we've had her over here looking at us the whole time.
Yeah.
8.3 million followers. I'm trying to like save the world and all the marriages and
Stop. She deserves it.
got a few thousand or whatever. Maya, obsessed with you guys.
Love you,
Thank you, Maya. I love this one. Bilbo makes like, OMG, nothing matters, but everything matters, but nothing matters.
No, literally,
exactly.
though.
That's exactly correct. And I apologize. Tips on social anxiety, Jada. We talked about that a little earlier, and Sydney's going to put this whole live up. When?
Okay, last week's live is tomorrow for sure. This one will be in a couple of days. Subscribe. And then you'll get notified. No, you won't even get notified, but just subscribe. And then we'll post. I post a TikTok whenever we upload it, but it will be up ASAP.
Okay. Yeah. Manny, when's our next live? We're planning on going Sunday night, right?
I guess.
And then, okay, and there's some good, like, Jada, thank you for that, tips on social media. And then Marina said that, Jada, what he said about everybody thinking more about themselves than about you helps me.
Oh my
That's
gosh,
nice.
yeah. No,
Thank you.
I used to think people were thinking about me all the time, and they're not.
Yeah.
It's like you can obsess over that so easily, but it's like,
It's so wild.
especially with like more negative people. Like if you think they're thinking about you, I promise you they're thinking about themselves.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like people like that especially.
Yeah, that's good. Let's see, Johnny, are you a narcissist if you can emotionally detach yourself from something happening to someone else? That's a great point. Honestly, I go with this pretty generic overview of if you're even asking yourself, you're really not narcissistic personality disorder, but that detaching yourself from something happening to somebody else, that one can be some childhood trauma where, you know, if you weren't, there's so much of it's about if you weren't allowed to feel your feelings or express your feelings when you were young, then you were taught your feelings are bad. And we might have even said this one earlier today, but because I think this one's, I think we did. But if you grow up and if you're just being and doing as a kid, which you are, you're just running around and you don't even know what you're doing. You're just like looking for yogurt and I don't know what kids do.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then but your parent is like, oh, don't do that, or slow down, or sit up straight, or oh, they didn't really mean it. And so everything you're doing, you're kind of being told that's not the right way to do it. But you're just being you. So then you over time stop putting your emotions out external and you internalize your emotions. So you're kind of taught, I guess my emotions aren't really very helpful and they're not right. They must be wrong. So then I'm going to question my emotions and I'm not allowed to feel my emotions. And if you saw like trauma a lot of times as a kid, then you learn that I can't say a thing. Like, because if I say, why are you doing that? I'm going to hear about it, you know? So sometimes people do learn to detach from their emotions.
That
so
was
that's
like
not narcissism. Yeah.
That was my first instinct when I saw that. Was like, it sounds like it's did you say defense mechanism or like something that's created from like your childhood, but it doesn't seem like you're like
defense.
bad.
No, you're not. No,
especially if you typed it like
that one's one where it's like, the detachment is rough because some of the times when people are dealt with like, big time emotional abuse, sexual abuse, that sort of thing, they've almost had to detach to try to not be in part of their present in their body because that's a lot. Is it possible for narcissists to be almost self-aware but refuse to accept it? Not a narcissistic personality disorder diagnosis, but that's where I promise, like, that is a small percentage of the population, 3 or 4%, 4 or 5%. But if we start from a scale of emotional immaturity, then that's where, we haven't even talked about confabulation tonight, where that's, the narcissist or the incredibly emotionally immature person might get that moment where they feel like, oh man, I do not feel good about what I just did. But then they can't sit with that discomfort. So they create an immediate narrative of, but I only did it because you said the thing and you, so I mean, you know, but because sometimes I'll have the person say, and I really feel like they got it for a minute. And then I was like, they do, until then it feels too much. And then it's like, but it's not actually my fault. And you're the one that started it. And if you wouldn't have done it, it's part of the narcissistic apology, where when somebody's like, okay, fine, I'm sorry. Like, apparently I did something wrong. But to be honest, I wouldn't have done it if you hadn't have said what you did. And so honestly, I'm kind of really mad that you even said that. And I really kind of think you owe me an apology. That's the narcissistic apology.
That's crazy.
Thank you very much. Okay. Let's see. What's your opinion on Stoicism? Oh, man. When we were flipping through, I said we were ending a little while ago, right?
What is Stoicism?
It's I like it. I really do. So I've got a whole document on Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic, and there's a lot of around this just being and doing concepts around Stoicism. Here, let me show you.
These are too many like big words now. I'm not gonna remember what the last one was. So that's a restaurant.
Oh, it's Socolo. I'm like, wait, is that one of the great Stoic philosophers said? Whoa, oh, that's the. Do you want to? Hi. Do you want to put the garbage out? Yeah.
Oh.
Do you want to put the garbage?
I got you.
This is like so scary. Here we're coming.
Sorry.
That scares me. Thank you so much. Is he there? Okay. Okay, we're staying late at the office, so the cleaning people just came, and that scared me.
No, thank you.
Okay. I was thinking, what if that wasn't the cleaning people, and then you just straight up got murdered right then?
You would just imagine you sent me out for that.
Oh, I would have felt bad.
You better.
I did. My bad. Okay.
All good.
You made it back. Okay, Stoicism. So some of this stuff is pretty cool. Let's see. Oh, I did a document that is talking about the similarities and differences on Stoicism and acceptance and commitment therapy. But Stoicism, change your perspective. Epictetus, it's not the things themselves that upset us, but our opinions about them. So
Wait, what? I don't get it. What is
so Stoicism, there's these Stoic strategies, and they're really designed to help you worry less and just find more peace around chaos. And so Stoicism, like the Stoic philosophers, have you ever heard of somebody just, they're Stoic? It means they're kind of just present and calm. And so here's some of these Stoic principles. And yeah, we'll do one of these sometime. I could keep going on and on. But don't suffer in advance. There's a philosopher, Seneca, reminds us that we often suffer more in our imagination than in reality. So I think you would like Stoicism. Anxiety is often caused by anticipating what could happen in the future and torturing ourselves with worry.
And does it ever actually happen?
Right.
No.
And then live in the present moment. You have control. Marcus Aurelius suggests that anxiety comes from within ourselves. We have control over how we respond to the events in our lives. There's these 4 virtues of Stoicism: courage, temperance, justice, and wisdom. Find a hobby. There's some, and this is like from ancient.
Really?
Yeah, Stoicism's. Yeah, this is a cool one too. Retreat into yourself. You don't always need to escape to find peace. Marcus Aurelius reminds us we can find replenishment and relaxation within ourselves. Taking time for introspection. I'm gonna sneeze. I'm gonna think about strawberries though. That is so weird.
That is so weird.
Oh, nope. Embrace imperfection. Epictetus advises us to be willing to be seen as foolish or ignorant in his order to improve. I think you even said that earlier today.
Epictetus.
Find stillness. The ability to find stillness and be present in the moment is powerful. Every situation's an opportunity. See, Stoicism, it's got a lot of good stuff in there. So
where did it come from?
The Stoic philosophers. It takes its name from the place where its founder, Zeno of Citium, Cyprus, customarily lectured. Flourished in the early 3rd century BCE. So, that's like when these guys were figuring this stuff out.
Wow. I know. I'm like, they had to figure out a long time ago.
It is wild.
It goes so wrong after that.
Okay. So thank you for mentioning that. All right, let's go. Dreams. I will talk about... Oh, bless you when I sneeze. Thank you.
Did we never get to the dream study?
No, it's pretty trippy. I gotta go. I gotta see clients in the morning.
You're gonna leave them on a cliffhanger?
I am.
We can hit it next time.
Yeah, we will. Okay. Hey, everybody. Thank you.
Go.
So much. And to our Mackie, our moderator, has a podcast. My daughter Mackie, The Mind, the Mirror, and Me. Amazing. Go find the one on solitude. That episode alone is game changer. And Murder on the Couch, you're going to put the Gypsy Rose Blanchard one up?
Subscribe to the Virtual Couch YouTube channel.
Yeah. And then we'll go live again Sunday night. We would love it if you would subscribe. It's a couple bucks a month, and we're going to do some special things for subscribers.
Some super special things.
Serious special things. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you to my amazing wife, your mom, Wendy, for managing all the questions and answers. Bless me when I sneeze. We'll talk about dreams next time.
Oh, bless you. Did I not say, wow, I didn't even say bless you. caught.
Look at that. I want to answer another question. I will not. I will now awkwardly look for the big button and press it.
This is a big moment.
Thanks, everybody. Have a wonderful night.
Have a good night, you guys.
See, that should do it right there. See? But look how far away I am. Right?
The way it's focused on your little finger is so funny.
Okay, here we go.